on the Texas A&M Sports Network. From Learfield, welcome to the Coach Jimbo Show, presented by Capital Farm Credit. Together, we're better. Also brought to you in part by Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue. Visit rudys.com to find real Texas barbecue near you. And by Bud Light, it's for the fans. Now, welcome to the Coach Jimbo Show.
Howdy, and we welcome you to Rudy's, 504 Harvey Road in College Station for another edition of the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show. It is presented by Capital Farm Credit. Still plenty of time for you to come down and be a part of our show this evening. I'm Andrew Monaco. Here's what's ahead in the next hour as we talk with Jimbo Fisher. Arkansas is now in the rearview mirror, but we'll review that game with the Razorbacks in Arlington last Saturday. And what's next for Texas A&M? Straight ahead, the Mississippi State Bulldogs come into Kyle Field. It is a 6 o'clock kick on Saturday, and we will get you started with the St. Joseph Health pregame show. That will be at 5 o'clock. We are so glad that you are with us, whether you are here in person, whether you are listening all along the Texas A&M Sports Network. Perhaps you are streaming us on Facebook on the Texas A&M Football Facebook page, or joining us on the 12th Man mobile app. Or maybe you visited Studio 12 and downloaded the podcast to take with you. You can subscribe, you can download, and you can listen to this and all of our podcasts on Studio 12. However you are joining us, we are so glad that you are with us. We'll have questions for the head coach from those in the audience as well as on Facebook. The hour is just getting started. It's the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show, and it's presented by Capital Farm Credit. We'll return to Rudy's right after this. This is Aggie Football from Learfield. Barker's Heating and Cooling, proud to be the official heating and cooling provider for Aggie Athletics. Earning your seal of approval since 1979. A lot has changed since then, but our pride in Aggie football and our commitment to providing great service remains as strong as ever. Gig 'em, Aggies. What a crowd this evening at Rudy's. Howdy, everyone. It is wonderful to see everyone. Thank you for coming out this evening. Along with the head coach, Jimbo Fisher, I'm Andrew Monaco. This is the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show. It is presented by Capital Farm Credit. I touched off the top that Arkansas is in our rearview mirror with Mississippi State straight ahead, but let's revisit Saturday. We talked a little bit in your office earlier this afternoon. You remind us time and again, Jimbo, details matter, and Saturday details matter.
Everything matters. Everything matters, and it does. Everything matters. You get down to one-play game, and however you do it, but how you start, how you finish, every play in between, every penalty, every alignment, every assignment, every technique. And listen, when you're playing when you play good teams, I mean, which you're going to do in our schedule each and every week, it matters. And you have to, sometimes those are hard lessons to learn. It's not that you don't want to learn them. It's not that you're not trying to, but you got to understand how to push through those times and do it. And what's coaching, playing, everything is involved, and that's our job to get them to understand that and to do it the right way each and every time. And there's, like I say, at the end of practice today, we're pushing and prodding guys, and we started to slide just a little bit, and we're pushing us. And you remember the feeling in the locker room. You want that again. You get to pain of discipline and pain of regret. I mean, you got to train. Winning and doing those things. You can't just say I'm going to do it. Everybody wants to do it, and they do it. All right, when you're the most tired, when you're the most sore, when you're the most banged, when you're the most mentally wore out, when everything is there, my leg hurts, my knee. Doesn't matter. That's what it's got to get to, and we're learning that. I mean, and then you gradually, each team builds all year. I mean, even the great teams I've had, and like I say, this can be a great team. But those teams that emerged and had successful seasons, they all had. It's a learning curve of what you have to do each and every year, and how you do it, and new guys, and hopefully we're getting there. I thought we practiced much better, so I hope everything matters.
You made this comment for the latest edition of The Pulse. You said, do not waste a loss. What do you mean by that?
No, I mean, you have to learn from it. Why did it happen? What happened? What went into it? What went away from it? You can't, everybody says we just one game. No, you learn from everything, whether you win or lose. But you don't waste a win, you don't waste a loss. And good wins, bad, whatever they are. But when you have a loss, you got to evaluate it and why. And remember that, so those things, you try not to let those things happen again.
It's almost, you have to be honest with yourself, correct?
Listen, them white lines, they make you be honest. When you walk in between them white lines, what the film says is what you are. What the film says is what we do as a team, as a coach, as a player, everything else. What the film says, and no matter what you know, how you know, you got to get communication. It could be communication. It can be a call. I mean, when it's amazing how many things, when something doesn't go, and you get with the players and you watch and you see and you learn and why it didn't happen that way. I mean, like I said, I've been at 35 years, and there's still things that are invented. I mean, sometimes it just come up, and whether I can't know a typical thing that you took for granted that you didn't say one word or different things, and put them just a hair off, and one guy can do it. And no, that's everybody in the country. We're all in that. It's precision, and that's what we're seeking.
The adjustments that were made in the course of the game, the defense adjusted. Yes, dug a hole 17-0, but they adjusted very nicely throughout that game.
Well, they got better and better. We still didn't tackle well. Mm-hmm. We didn't tackle well in the game, and the thing we did, getting down 17 changes your whole dynamic and where you're at, especially the way we're made right now with the players, some young players on offense. We didn't need that, and it forced you to do some things. Now, the key play of the game, because it really could have got ugly, it was 24-0, is that they had a 3rd and 15 or 16, and then we got the 4th and 1 stop. Then we were able to get the field goal and get it back. And then, that thing, as I said, one thing I was proud of our guys, that thing could have got really ugly. It got back to 17-10 in the middle of the 3rd quarter, and we got a real chance to win the game. And, we get 17-10. We kick it to 25. Unfortunately, we give up 2 or 3 first downs right there. That's where it would have been great to hit that 3 and out, build off that momentum. But they still got stops. We get the ball, we drive, we hit an 8-yard run, hit an 8-yard, have an RPO, hit an 8-yard play, and then we hit another 8-yard play, and it calls for a legal man downfield, which set us behind the 8 ball, back to 1st and 15 or 20. Get a sack, then get to 3rd and 7, and then we have a guy open and we get pressure. I mean, that part of it happened. So then we punt, and we pin them, I think, all the way down about the 12, 14-yard line. But they get some first downs, get out, and we get pinned back, and we have a penalty. Then we have a crucial penalty on a punt. Back at the 10, hit a 30-yard pass to get out. And next play, we got a guy wide open underneath, great read. But he hits a guy, gets tipped, and in the whole scenario there, and then you're down 2 scores, and it was there. But they fought back, had a chance, still had chances. Right. And we had a crucial penalty on a 4th and 1 with about 5 minutes. We had a 4th and 1 that we jumped that we could have got. So some of those young guys, you want to do it, and the poise to do it is 2 different things, and we got to get to there. And that's why practice has got to be tough. We got to rough, and hopefully they'll learn from those mistakes, and we'll coach from those mistakes. And us coaches will learn how to help them do a better job.
And sometimes it's that timeliness. I think the penalties were about even, but it seemed the penalty on A&M would wipe out a game.
Well, it was, and we weren't racing on offense, and in the field position battle. That's the thing we did do. We punted well, but like I say, the first half, we never had a 3 and out on offense.
Right.
That's the thing that was disappointing. The first drive, you're at the 50, execute a play, have it there. Then we're on the 32 or 33 and get a loss on a screenplay that we used to pick up 10, 12 yards. We scored on twice this year already. We just missed blocks. We just missed 2 blocks and didn't get those things executed at some critical things that we thought we were doing really well. And, like I said, nobody, I got to tell you, the guys don't make mistakes on purpose. But you still make them, and why they're made and what happens, and we have to evaluate that and go. And if we could at least match a couple of those scores, even with field goals, it changes the dynamic of how you have to play. But, hey, you battle back, you got a chance, and now we got to learn to keep our poise and make that play. But now we've learned from that. Hopefully we got to play this week in Mississippi State, and we got to put Mississippi State in the vision of what we do and play well, because they're a really good football, really good defensive football team, giving up about 60 yards a game rushing, really dynamic up front, really good front defensive guys. Linebackers are active, 2 good corners, long, athletic. Offensively, they're going to throw it around, 4 wides, 3 wides. Sometimes they threw it 70 times in one game this year, I believe. The quarterback's getting better. He's really about 75% he's hitting. And what they're doing there. So we're going to have to take advantage, and we played well against them last year and some things we did, so hopefully we can do that again. But we're going to have to play well all 3 phases and get better.
Mississippi State on Saturday. That's at 6 o'clock at Kyle Field. We'll get it started at 5 o'clock with the St. Joseph Health pregame show. We will continue with the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show. It's presented by Capital Farm Credit. Come on back to Rudy's, 504 Harvey Road here in College Station. This is Aggie Football from Learfield. Fans, Texas Farm Bureau Insurance wants to provide a trip for 12 to the LSU game on November 27th. To register for the 12th fan trip, visit 12thman.com/12thfan. Texas Farm Bureau Insurance is a proud corporate partner of Texas A&M Athletics. They are in Australia, the Constantinos, and Tyler is checking in from Japan.
Wow.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Absolutely. And we'll get to the Texas Gates.
Hello, everyone. In Australia and Japan. Tyler, everybody.
They all say hello.
And Nick's doing well.
And, yes, he is.
And Moko's doing well.
Moko's something. Huh?
Yeah.
Try getting around him. Talk about guys putting in work. Let me talk about that offensive line. Let me start that you were really glad to see Layden Robinson back in practice this week, which is nice.
He's doing all right. He's getting back in there and getting those guys going, and some of those young players, and it's just a matter of getting that right chemistry and right dynamic. And offensive line, I always say that, man, it takes quarterbacks, receivers take a ton and all that timing and rhythm, but that offensive line, man, because everything's right there on top of it happening, bam, 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 and different combinations, talking, communicating, seeing it on the same page. It's a lot of work, but you're a really talented young group. We'll keep getting them there.
You have moved 55 all over the place since Kenyon Green has been here. What does that say about the smarts of Kenyon Green?
Well, and not just I've seen have guys that have been brilliant but couldn't do that. I mean, he understands conceptually what football is. And I think that's a big part. Not only do you have to learn assignments, but you understand concepts, and you can conceptually learn. In other words, if you understand the guy beside you, what he's required to do, and those things because of the big pick. Some people can do their job. I don't mean that. I mean, that's just who they are. Some people can do everybody's job, and some people can conceptually absorb that information. So when they move there, they can make those transitions, and Kenyon's one of those guys.
It's a nice thing to have, is it not?
Oh, you got to.
Plug it in.
I say that all the time because – you say, well, you got guards, you got tackles, it's just like receivers. Receivers really need to learn all 3 spots, or 4 spots if you go 4 receivers. Linemen need to learn. I mean, if you learn your tackle first. Now, always remember, the closer in with the ball you go, the multiplicity of things grow. The intelligence level and the aptitude of understanding conceptually has to really grow the closer you get to the football, because the amount of things that happen are double or triple. It's like being a 4-way traffic stop or a 2-way traffic stop, or one when you're on the outside. I mean, there's not as many things can happen. Now, when you get in space, you have to be tremendously athletic, more athletic and powerful. But when you get to that ball, and that's one of the things about Kenyon is doing that. And those linemen, when they learn to understand and be able to move, it allows you to put the best 5 guys on the field at one time. Because sometimes 3 tackles may be 2 of your best 5 guys. Well, that doesn't do you any good as a coach. You know what I'm saying? Where you need to get the best 5 guys on. So those guys that have the ability to do that, they're invaluable.
That's why you say what you say in the spring, right? We can move them around in spring ball.
You do, to try to understand that, to see what the best combinations are, what the most talent is, and also for a rainy day. When somebody gets hurt, that somebody can go do that to allow those things to happen. And you can never have enough centers.
No, absolutely not.
Different.
No, absolutely not.
Guys can learn that.
The 67-yard run by Isaiah. That's when that offensive line.
Yeah, they had a good day. It was 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2 there. We popped it, and he got through, and they hit it perfect, and he went through. And we had a bunch of 4, 5, 6 yards. Nothing was truly clean, but we were moving the ball good. Unfortunately, we just got behind. We had to keep mixing the throw in and trying to create some plays, because they weren't stopped driving the ball the first half. We never stopped them the first half, and that allowed that. But we still ran the ball pretty effectively. In the first 2 drives, that was a disappointing thing. We moved it up there and got to hit those plays at the 50. Had a screen one time that was going to be out the gate, and a little throwback to the tight end that should have been a big, big play that we gave up a little pressure, but we still could have hit it, I thought. And really been some, changes your field position, because you can run, but you got to create those plays. But we did a good job running and solidly as we went on. Had some mixed messages, but that one was a pop one, and it was big. And guys went in, one score of the game, middle of the 3rd quarter. You're in great shape.
We don't always think about Isaiah with that speed, but he had that tearaway speed when he got through that line.
Well, another thing you remember, he caught 5 balls. He had 5 passes and would have caught 6. I mean, you can get guys. If that getting them the ball in space and the multiplicity of ways you can get, and that's the way running backs are now. They got to be able to catch the football, and he does. He and the chain both have excellent hands in what you're trying to do there. So, but he hit the breakaway speed. He has runs. He's strong, and he practiced. I mean, if you could just see him, you've seen him. But the people, listen, there's no reason. It's not a secret why he's having success. Go watch him on the practice field. He's the same way in everything he does. All the time. He has really grown and matured into what you really want guys to become. Not that he wasn't ever, but you know how you watch guys evolve and understand the whole concept, the whole big picture of why everything matters. And that's why he made the statements he did. It hurts. I mean, those guys, when they get to that point, when you truly understand why everything is done and everything makes a difference, man, it's hard because you're invested so much. It's hard to give it up, and that's the example he wants to set, and he's leading our team.
I think back to he got the baptism by fire when Jayshon got hurt.
Oh Lord, yeah, remember he was starting by the 3rd game. Remember Jayshon got hurt in the Clemson game. He tore that hamstring off the bone or whatever, and it was a very big injury. He's a 3rd game as a true freshman. He's your starting tailback. I mean, and had some tough times in early big games. I mean, but the thing about that is you understand that's part of it. But he never wilted. He never fought. He just kept grinding and then started making all those plays. And man, it's just so fun to watch his evolution.
And it's rare that you have to correct him in practice, but it's almost when you do, he knows exactly what's coming.
Oh, they know the mistakes. I mean, they can tell you, got it. I mean, you just say, I was like, got it, which is Very, very few and far between.
And you know with him, he's got it.
Oh, he does. He understands. He can tell you what he did, or Coach, I say it, I West, we'll hit it again, and it's perfect. But you don't have to do that very, very often.
No. He's Jimbo Fisher, head coach of the Fighting Texas Aggies. 3-1, taking on the 2-2 Mississippi State Bulldogs on Saturday at Kyle Field. We'll continue with the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show. It's presented by Capital Farm Credit. This is Aggie Football from Learfield. The new Brookshire Brothers, across from Kyle Field, was built for Aggies. There's a bar serving coffee, wine, and beer, a full-service pharmacy, and great values on groceries. And you'll love their grab-and-go meals. Only at Brookshire Brothers, so much more than a grocery store. We continue with the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show. It's presented by Capital Farm Credit. We're at Rudy's, 504 Harvey Road here in College Station. If I'm stepping out of line here, tell me, because I don't want you to get fined.
Sure will.
Okay? Did they look and see if there was possibly a target on Isaiah Spiller on the interception?
Definitely was a targeting.
Okay. That's what I wanted to know.
Does you a lot of good afterward.
No, it doesn't. And,
looked at it. It said they looked at it.
Well, that's why I wondered why he went back under the hood.
No, I told him to look at it.
Did you?
Yep.
If it's not targeting, Jimbo, it's a cheap shot, and it's a.
Then we need to do away with the rule.
Yeah.
But listen, at the end, I mean, that's a big call, but still, we did our own things, and we need to take care of our own business and not leave it up to that.
I understand that. I totally understand. But we go to Birmingham every year, and we get told by the officials, we talk about player safety. You had your player that was not safe.
No.
So, okay.
Here's what it is.
That's it. We're moving on.
Yeah, well, I mean, it bothers you on that, but at the same time, I'm still worried about we got control, we can control.
Gotcha. It's the thing about targeting, and it's not on that play. Offensively, defensively, our team, other teams, these guys have now played under the rules of targeting. So they now understand. This isn't like when it first came out and everybody's saying.
Exactly right.
So
you're very aware how you do things.
Give you a chance to do that. On your defensive side of the ball, you had Tyreek Chappelle play an awful lot. You have Deuce Harmon. What does it say about those true freshmen playing, in the guts of this game in a Mike Elko defense?
Well, I mean, they've got to do that. I mean, and that's listen, freshmen can't contribute now. I mean, you got two true offensive linemen playing in there. I mean, and like I say, that's the hardest place to go. Now, these guys are athletic. They've learned. They can make plays, and we've always thought since the day they were here that they would be able to play and do those things. I mean, when the day they got here. I mean, and you have to. If you don't have enough depth because guys are rolling over every 3 years. You're lucky to keep a guy 4 years, 5 years. That was one of the unique things they had. They had 11 six-year players. I didn't realize. I mean, I knew it was a bunch, but it was a bunch. But you don't get that luxury anymore of fourth and fifth year guys. Your freshmen have to contribute, and you got to get them ready. You got to push them because all right, it may not the first 2 or 3 games. Man, this was the 4th game. They had played some, but they got to get ready. As this season goes on, the wear and tear, the injuries, the things that happen in all your positions, you got to develop those young players and get them as many reps in practice that you can. 10 reps, 15 reps, 20 reps a game, and if something, you get an injury, they can play. But if they can take 15 reps a game off somebody, that's another, after 3 or 4 games, that's a half a game to a full game that somebody may play that, can keep guys healthy for the whole season. And that's just the way it is now. You got to play young players. And those guys are doing an outstanding job.
He didn't seem to blink when Arkansas went 4 on one side, and he was 1-on-1. I think Traylon Burks is terrific, by the way.
Oh, he's a really good player. Yeah. He's a really good player.
And Tyreek didn't blink.
No, he got locked up. You better not because you got him. He'll be gone. Yeah. I mean, and you get your baptism real quick in this league, and you're doing it. I thought he did an outstanding job. And he really competed, kept his poise, composure to be put in that situation. Did a great job.
You just said the word. That's who you want. That's what you've been doing as you have been recruiting each offseason. You want guys who compete, correct?
Yeah, listen, being a competitor is the ultimate thing. You can draw up. Can he run? Can he jump? Can he think? Will he compete? And he can play, but will he compete? Competing's when it ain't going well. It ain't going. I mean, you'll get in a foxhole with a guy. What's his DNA? I mean, we got ability, we got everything in the world. But at the end of the day, competitors. Have you had one quality of players ever, to me, it's competitors. Because you know what competitors do? Figure it out. If you're competitive, you figure out what you got to do and how you got to do it. And you play to your strengths, weaknesses, and all that stuff. But you've got to be able to compete.
We have questions when we return to the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show. It's presented by Capital Farm Credit. Return with us to Rudy's. We'll step aside. This is Aggie Football from Learfield. We all know that queso practically flows through the veins of every Texan, and at Costa Vida Fresh Mexican Grill, queso is their pro-style offense. Costa Vida is proud to partner with Texas A&M Athletics. They have checked in from Gatesville, Belton, Flatonia, and Austin. And then as soon as someone checked in from Austin on Facebook, someone said, sorry that you have to live in Austin. So it is question time. Philip's up first, and the reason why Philip's up first is because we know that he finished his homework because he gets to have a question.
Gotcha.
What are the top 3 things you will be working on in practice?
Well, I mean, first of all is understand, like we talked about here, the importance of not just a detail, but the importance of the mindset of how you practice. That you understand that each and every play makes a difference, so you practice it. And when you do it, you're either making a good habit or a bad habit. And you got to have that mindset. You can say, I'm going to do it right, but if your mind's not right, and understanding how to get yourself going, how to make sure we're getting out of the blocks, how we start practice fast, you know what I mean? And then how we finish practice. At the end of the day, I mean, our mindset to have details, how we're going to start practice, to make sure we get the juice and the energy to do it right in the beginning, and how we're going to finish. That's why I was pushing at the end of the day, because at the end you got to be able to find those ways to make those plays. Now, I mean, we're talking about runs, techniques. There's a ton of things there, but I think those from a big picture standpoint are how you start, how you finish, and the mindset you approach every rep with, no matter what it is.
I had asked you before about you like to keep the tempo up, and I thought it was for the opponent. You said, I can only get so many plays in the hours that are allotted.
Yeah, your time, your 10 minutes, you got to get them, the scout team, everybody. And the scout team part can set that tone, too. If they, you know, our guys are doing a really good job and really picking that up and doing a heck of a job. Those kids, they sacrifice their tails off to make, and sometimes a lot of scholarship players, too, to learn. And you go play against the good players and the guys who start, and that develops you. I mean, that's the thing about everybody wants guys that are ready, but some guys need developed, and you got to develop yourself. So you got to set a tempo, a timing to get everything in. You got because you're on a time allotment. Mm-hmm. Ain't like the old days. The coach said, "We'll just practice till we get them all in." Them days over with.
No, my partner Charles Davis with TV in the early days. He played for Johnny Majors at Tennessee.
I know Charles.
He was famous, Johnny, for at one point during the week saying, do it over. Let's start again. It could have been the 15th period, and they were starting.
Yeah,
you can't do that these days, can you?
Hey, back in the day when you started over, you know what I mean? And now you're in 20-hour rules and 4-hour rules on a day and your time, and it just, you know, it's not the same as it used to be. They stayed there until you did it right. I mean, it was, but that you can't do it anymore.
No. Ian is in, and Ian's published, by the way. He gave me a newspaper. He's published. What do you look for in an assistant coach?
You know, that's a great thing. You're going to think it's crazy. You know the one thing? Loyal people. Understand something. You're in a business that is so chaotic at times, and there's things that happen. Everybody wants a piece of what's going on. The loyalty part of this business and the things that you do when you're in an organization is you being able to trust the guy beside. Just like you do players, you got to be able to trust your coaches. Coaches got to be able to trust you because there's a lot of things that go in and out. People don't understand the importance of loyalty to an organization and to each other within an organization. And then you got to be a great recruiter, you got to be a great coach and all that. But first, a great person who is a loyal person. And to me, that's to the forefront.
That's why you will always push them if they can advance.
Oh, yes.
Correct?
Yes, and you want them all. I mean, because I love to hear ball, but at the same time, I want all those guys to become coordinators, to become head coaches if that's what they want. Whatever they want. Some guys do. Some guys don't want that. Right. I mean, some guys want it. Some guys don't want it, and that's a very important part of how you have to do things. And then you have to have, once you become the loyalty part of things, then there has to be a certain. Then you have to have the knowledge and the wherewithal to be able to coach and do the things you got to do. But that it's a tough brand. You don't want yes men, do you? No, I don't want. I don't mind. See here, I don't mind confrontation. Confrontation makes you better. If you want to sit there and say, if you're the smartest guy in the room, then why you got everybody else? I mean, I like guys who challenge and do, and there's a lot of guys a lot of the ideas and things we do aren't, we come to it and why. Now, all right, and if they bring it up, and then if they're not willing to stand by it, why are you doing? Why do we think that? Why do we think this? No, and then we all make final decisions, but at the same time, offensively and defensively, and I'm gonna make them for the team. Well, how we're going to do things, but at the same time, you got to have guys that push that envelope and be creative and go look at other ideas and new ways of doing things and keeping up with things and to see things through a different lens. I had learned from previous coaches, if you have everybody saying yes, he felt that we were missing something. What are we missing? And there's no doubt. I mean, you get complacent. Complacency sets in, and that can never happen. Yeah. Wesley, class of 95, I know you can't speak specifically on officiating, but do you feel in general officiating's gotten worse in recent years? Here's the thing. You can say yes, but I believe this. Before we didn't know because there wasn't a replay. I mean, we always had our own opinions on things, but now you confirm it. But sometimes here's the thing I don't understand about replay, and I've really put some deep thought in this. Probably more so in the last year than I have ever, because I say, listen, I understand guys make them, but if we're going to have replay, well, that can be reviewed and that can't be reviewed. If we're having replay, why don't we just get it right? Why don't we just get it right? What is right? You know what I'm saying? What is right? And the other thing that bothers me about that in replay, and this has an effect too, different numbers of cameras for different games. I mean, so we don't have as many cameras on this game as we do on that game.
Right.
So you're more important than we are?
So last week.
So, I mean, so you can't see. No, we had tons of them on that game, but I'm just saying.
But we won't Saturday because it's an SEC network game.
Yeah, I mean, so the looks and the things, I don't get that. Because, listen, we all think it's about coaches and no, it ain't about the players. At the end of the day, it's about the players. I mean, the fans, we can get mad and all that, and I mean, I get all that. And the coaches, but those kids get 4 years to play. And their heart, and if we're wrong, if it goes against us, then go against us. I don't care. I'm the only guy they said, I always complain when I went on officiating and send it in. I send in calls that we do something. If we're holding, I send it in. Why don't you call it on us? If that was interference, I think that should have been a call on us. Because I want to know how to coach my guys and what to do. And I don't want an advantage. I just want it right. And that's the thing that bothers me. And I think we want to. I mean, I think officials do. I don't think guys make mistakes on purpose. I think they're great people. I don't mean that. But the whole process, let's just get it all right. You know what I mean? And then you can't say anything about them. They and I get it because then people go after. I mean, it's stupid. Our world has gotten crazy like that in that regard. I mean, they ain't trying to mess you up on purpose.
Right.
You know what I mean? But you got to know when they make a mistake so they can correct it and all that stuff. So, but hey, it's always here.
Do you prefer that they come over even if they're wrong to say, I may have messed up? Do you like that dialogue with them?
Yeah. I mean, afterwards and you see and what goes on. I mean, they're human beings too, but just do it for the right reason. If we got replay, let's replay it and get it right. So not for me or them, but for the kids.
Not a question, but Jeff and Jeffrey want you to know how much that we support and respect how you lead our team.
Well, thank you very much. I'm very blessed to lead it, but also, hey, I want to lead it the right way, and I want to get the results for the kids. I want the results for the kids. I want the results for the organization. I want the results for the fans. I mean, you owe that out to them and to put the best product on the field, and because they'll support the undying support you get from the 12th man, our organizations, and our players. And as a coach, that's what you want to do.
Thank you for all those questions. Outstanding segment. You bet. We'll continue with the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show. It's presented by Capital Farm Credit. Stay with us. This is Aggie Football from Learfield. Jimbo Fisher Radio Show is brought to you by Capital Farm Credit. Capital Farm Credit. Together, we're better. As the Aggies get set to take on Mississippi State, that will be on Saturday at 6 o'clock at Kyle Field. 5 o'clock with the St. Joseph Health pregame show. Hope that you will join us on Saturday. The Aggies look to get their first win in the SEC. I am reminded, I can only tell this story once a year, and it's when we play Mississippi State. And if you know that we've talked all season long about the 3-3-5 on defense, that would be Joe Lee Dunn did that years ago. And Coach, one time with Charles Davis again, doing a Mississippi State football game. UCF was playing Mississippi State, working in Florida. Jackie Sherrill was kind enough to set us up in a room to watch some film. Coach Dunn came in, knew Charles from playing at Tennessee, says, how's everything going? They catch up. Charles says, Coach, I noticed that you don't wear a headset when you coach.
We never do.
And Joe Lee Dunn said, Charles, I coach by feel. It's my favorite story when he said that.
He did.
I coach by feel.
He did.
Yeah.
He always did.
Yeah. That 3-3-5, though, he was ahead of his time.
He was.
Wasn't he?
He did different packs. He was blitzing. He was different at the time. I mean, sometimes you say 3-3-5, but I played against Joe Lee, and he stood everybody up. There wasn't a down lineman. He'd have two down linemen in the game, bunch of linebackers, guys that be lined up in all different places, directions, blitz and come in different stunts. I mean, it was constant movement. And the way he used to coach, if I remember, he would put his guys out against formations and they would line up and there'd be garbage cans and they would charge in gaps and all that stuff. I mean, it was a different style of how he did things and how he taught, and it was unorthodox, and it caused you as a coach tons of problems. There's still some things I did in some zones and certain runs and the way we did things. you had to design, especially for Joe Lee, because it was so unique in how he did it.
Now we see that more. And you had told us earlier, when you think about Mississippi State, all the times that you've coached against Mississippi State, it's their defense that's always been so stout.
Well, I mean, they've had backs, they've had a little bit of everything, but you don't realize the tradition of great defensive players and big bodies and defensive linemen. And I always said this, even and had some great teams at LSU when I was there, great teams at Auburn when I played, and we'd have. And Mississippi State would be some years really, really good, and some years they'd be in the middle of the pack. But after the game on Monday, the training room was more full after that game than it was after any game you ever played. They were always a big physical, athletic team that played really good, and they've got good players again. I mean, they've got a really good group.
I joked in your office, there will not be Errol Thompson this year.
Yeah, it seems like he's been there forever, man.
And having big games against us,
he was
too,
big and physical, yeah. And he always was a pain in our tail. There's no doubt.
This team, Mississippi State, everybody likes to say, well, it is a Mike Leach coach team, yes. But you're right. Their defense, again, an experience on that side of the ball once again. And I think only Georgia is better than them defensively, numbers-wise, but that's where Mississippi State, they could be 4-0, Jimbo, couldn't they?
Yeah, I mean, they could be. I mean, and, if you look at it across the board, everybody's about like that. I don't mean that. I mean, they could have been 4-0, 3-1, 1-3, 2. I mean, games are coming down, and they're battling back in the fourth quarter, playing their tails off, and they've gotten beat on, at that freak punt return at, Memphis and things like that had happened to them. So, but, offensively, though, they're really skilled, too, though. They've always had big receivers. I mean, Eric Moulds back in the day, and I remember the backs and the things they have, DeCenzo Miller and Bowie and James. I'm going way back to the early 90s, and when I first got in the league back 93, 94, I mean, I always had Jackie always had them big tailbacks of physical and banged you around and big linemen. And I always had huge offensive lines. Huge offensive lines. They used to have all the time back in the day. But they're a good offense and defensive and special teams team now. They got the return guys leading the nation in kickoff return. He's got a 100-yarder to his credit. I mean, they can hit it and run now.
Yeah, that's a big game changer, right? The special teams.
Big.
That's why it's so. But that's you always say. Hey, you get the guys, get the ball, and the guys like Aniyah Smith. Allow Devon to with the kickoff return.
Yeah, and see, we probably a lot of our starters on special teams. And people say, well, why you do that? Well, that's the plays that are in the greatest amount of space. So why would you not have your best players on the field? And you control field position and do the things we do. And we our special teams have been really good. We've kicked the ball well, punted it well. The two kickoffs that Chain has had, he's had over 30-some yards on both returns. Nice had a great game a couple weeks ago. Last week, their punter hit it so good, we didn't get any. But our punter's been doing a great job. We've been covering kicks. We've been, knocking on wood that we've been Caden Davis and Seth and Nick have all been kicking that thing well. And Choate, he's a good snapper. And we've been well in those groups, and we're going to have to be again. Because like I said, and then last week, I think we talked about that. Nick averaged 49 yards a punt and had 6 punts inside the opponent's 20 last week. I mean, you think about that. We had 6 punts that they started inside their 12, 13, 14, 15-yard line. And that makes it really tough to score. I mean, and I say our defense plays great and did that too, but that part of it, when you got to drive 86, 85, 84, they hit a couple big plays, but if they didn't hit the big plays, they didn't score, even if they moved the ball, which that keeps you. So, our kicking part is a big part of defense too, and we're doing a good job on that part.
We'll talk a little bit more about Mississippi State, the Aggies' opponent this Saturday when we return to the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show. It's presented by Capital Farm Credit. This is Aggie Football from Learfield. We continue with the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show. It is presented by Capital Farm Credit. We are at Rudy's, and our final check-in on Facebook. Leaf River, Illinois has checked in. Columbus, Ohio has checked in. Beat the hell out of Ohio State, says Brian. Lafayette, Louisiana. Petersburg, Illinois. See you at Kyle Field this weekend, says Josh. Howdy from Farmington, Connecticut. And from New Braunfels, touching on good people and loyalty. How valuable is Mark Robinson to the program?
He's the worst guy on the staff. No, let me tell you something now. He is totally, he's the best in the business, I'm telling you. I shouldn't say that out there. Everybody trying to come get him now. But they always have been, so been fighting for. Listen, he has been with him a long time, and he and I've got a great one. But just guys can finish your sentence, know what you want, look ahead and say, yep, you're right. I mean, have it already done before you get there and mapped out, or hey, we got this. I mean, I don't ever think I have to worry about anything that's ever given to him or he was responsible for doing. We always look at it, but it's almost to a point where it becomes It's unbelievable. He's as good as there is in the business, and I'm going to tell you, those guys are invaluable. Invaluable.
Your job is tough enough, right, to be able to take stuff like that off your plate and allow you to coach. I know there's a lot more than that.
And they'll run things by you, and just want to make sure you don't. But here's what: every time he asks me, he's always done it professional, with the most class, and he knows I want it done first class and the best. I don't want to take away from anything. He knows that, and it's always that way. It doesn't even cross his mind. You know what I mean? It's just perfect. It's unbelievable.
Saturday, Mississippi State. What are the keys against the Bulldogs?
Well, I mean, listen, got to start fast. You got to get out of the blocks. You got to set a tone. You got to set a tone in all three phases. You need to get points early. You need to not give them up. But we need to set a tone in the lines of scrimmage because they're very physical in both of them. We're going to have to play very disciplined football. Again, turnovers and big plays. You got to try to create the big plays and sustain plays and play with great consistency in all phases because anytime you slip on offense, defense against them, they're going to make you pay. We're going to play with great consistency. And I always say this, great teams do ordinary things better than anybody else. Great teams do ordinary things better than anybody else. The fundamentals of how you do it, and don't get bored doing it, and play with an unbelievable competitiveness and toughness. And, take care of the third downs, take care of the red zones, take care of the situational things. But you got to set a tone by how you play and the way you play and with the techniques and the precision you play with also the toughness and competitiveness.
And when you do that, that's when you force turnovers, don't you?
Plays, when you do things right, it's amazing how plays come to you. You say, come on, I didn't even try. Yeah, because you're doing your job. And you're doing your job the right way. And it's designed that way. The game rewards that. It rewards toughness, it rewards competitiveness, and it rewards consistency. And guys who are willing to do that down in, down out, and those things all fall right into place in what you do. And the big things is, though, like you say, you don't shoot yourselves with self-inflicted wounds, with the penalties or the alignments or the missed assignments or the miscommunications and all that stuff. And, that's a strain to do. You got to strain. You got to strain, and you got to strain your mind, your body, and your soul to be a great team and a great player.
Win your space, win it more often. Scoreboard takes care of itself, correct?
Don't look at the scoreboard. If you play the right way, it'll say what you want.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And the defense and the offense, you love that complementary football.
You do. And that's the other thing you don't realize. And momentum swings. Mm-hmm. That, for instance, if we had the first drive, could have got points. If defense gives up points, okay, offense, answer up. It's your turn to answer up. Now, last year in that game, we did because they jumped on us last year. And we scored 6 straight drives. Had 6 straight touchdowns, and they kept moving in that game last year too. But we answered up, and then defense got their bearings, and then we played well. And like that one, if we could have answered up offensively, we gave it up. And then once we got going again, when we pinned them back, you get a 3 and out, you get a turnover. I mean, it's just there's some little things we got to clean up, and it's not from lack of effort. You just got to know. You feel those moments, man. You just you put the finishing touches on things and understanding how to play and win and maintain the momentum of games, and then also swing them back your way. And how you do things.
We certainly hope that happens. Beat the hell out of Mississippi State. We'll see you on Saturday, Coach. You got it. Jimbo Fisher, head coach of the Fighting Texas Aggies. And on Saturday, this is our lineup. 5 o'clock, we will come your way with the pregame show. It's the St. Joseph Health pregame show. That's at 5 o'clock. And at 6 o'clock, it will be the kick between the Fighting Texas Aggies, who are ranked number 15 in the country, taking on Mississippi State. Aggies are 3-1. Mississippi State comes in at 2-2. We thank you so much for joining us, whether it's all along the network, streaming on Facebook, on the 12th Man mobile app. Thanks for being with us. For the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show, it's presented by Capital Farm Credit. We're at Rudy's, 504 Harvey Road, College Station. For Kevin Mensch, our engineer, Tony O'Neill is our producer. For head coach Jimbo Fisher, I'm Andrew Monaco. Thanks and gig 'em. This is Aggie Football from Learfield.